get superpowers from gene code editing. These are considered to be mutations in biology. Real-world examples include the strongest kid in the world. So his body wasn't creating enough myostatin, which was what inhibits muscle growth. And when that was removed, like, there's no limit to his muscle growth. Obviously, I don't have that, but researchers think that this could like lead to more possibilities with different, depending on what is changed. Now, if you want to hear more about these real-life superhumans, you can watch Stanley's show about them. Like, it was a really interesting show. I remember watching it as a kid. It was really cool. But he goes more in depth and like actually visits them and then talks with them and then shows them their skills and stuff. It's really cool. But like, you gotta remember, like, these are accidental. None of these are purposeful. These are just mutations in gene editing. But what if they were purposeful? Gene editing is a new concept, and so far it's being planned on being used for helping to prevent human diseases, like helping resistance with cancer and HIV and stuff. But this also makes it theoretically possible to get superpowers. But can you get Spider-Man specific superpowers? First we'll have to list them off. So the obvious would be the wall crawling, the spider sense, the webs depending on the version of Spider-Man you prefer, because he has both organic and web shooters depending on what comic you read or what movie you watch. But he also has superhuman reflexes, superhuman strength, a lot of flexibility. Like, there's a lot. But these are the main ones that we're going to be looking at, besides the webs, because that's not possible. The way that genes are specifically changed is with this new technology called the CRISPR-Cas9. So basically what this does is that it's able to slice a gene, remove that part, and then replace it with whatever the researchers want to do. So then this makes it possible, theoretically still, to replace it with whatever you want, and then to change whatever you want. So the closest we can theoretically get to Spider-Man's spider sense is echolocation. Now this is what Bailey the beluga whale used in Finding Dory. So basically what echolocation is a super sonar of sound, which is what Daredevil uses, but we can just kind of transition it over to what we need it for, which is Spider-Man's spider sense. Now, scientists believe that the Preston protein is key to giving us a more like animal sonar. Now this can be related to the myth about how sharks can smell blood from over a mile away. That has been proven to be wrong, but like, this is sort of the same concept.
Here's from the Federal Polytechnic School of Lausanne in Switzerland, that's a mouthful, knocked out the NCORI gene in mice, which led them to run twice as fast than as normal. This gene encodes a protein called nuclear receptor compressor 1 that inhibits muscle growth. So when it was knocked out, they were able to grow bigger and more dense muscles than their wild-type counterpart.
So this means that super strength and super running go hand in hand, which must mean why the Hulk is so fast. Now you buzz off. This is my show. So, speaking of super strength, how do you get that? Well, you sort of already heard the example of the strongest kid in the world, but there is a little more in-depth research on that.
A study published in 2016 found that genetic mutations in the activin A receptor type IIB were significantly associated with lean muscle mass. ACVR2B codes for a receptor that inhibits the action of myostatin, a naturally occurring protein that limits muscle growth. This is what happened in the genes for the strongest kid in the world. Super reflexes and wall crawling are kinda tricky. With the others, you were able to just kind of switch up the patterns and change how your body functions. But with this one, you kind of need to mix it with other animals. When this goes wrong, you can turn into a giant lizard that terrorizes the city. But with wall crawling, you would have to splice with a gecko's DNA to get their wall crawling abilities. And then octopuses or octopi, have some of the fastest reflexes in the animal kingdom. Meaning that if we splice our DNA with theirs, we can have muscles that trigger faster. So it's kind of ironic that you need to splice with an animal that's one of your villains. You know, octopus. So Peter does technically have more powers, mostly depending on who you ask, but these are sort of the main ones and how to get them. Gene editing is still a new technology, and currently becoming Spider-Man is only theoretically possible, and then you'd have to edit a newborn baby and do experiments on a child, which I'm going to add is highly illegal and then just morally kind of wrong, because you'd have to change every cell in your body, so you can't do it to yourself. You have to do it with, you know, like genetically creating your own baby is just not a good thing. So this is kind of a fun idea, but really, do not go out and do this, please, okay? If you do, don't blame me, okay? I'm just kind of sharing these ideas. But this gene editing technology is going to be used to help prevent diseases and conditions rather than giving people superpowers. So maybe in a far distant future we'll be able to turn ourselves into superhumans, but who knows? Thank you for listening.